What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the Neighbors Podcast and the Survivor Island of Idols season breakdown. I am Mitchell, and Dylan's with me again.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, guys? So, episode 3, 4? This was 4.
This is 4.
Our episode
It's
3,
our
but
third episode,
yeah, but 4 for Survivor. It was a little bit more of an interesting one. I'm trying to think exactly what happened in the beginning. They kind of talk about the choice to split the votes. Why Karishma, and then she constantly feels like she's on the outs.
Yeah, which is, I can't blame her, because if Vince did have an idol, she would have went home.
Yeah.
I feel if I was in her position, I would be pretty mad and pretty worried about my place in the game, because you're obviously that person that's very disposable. If they did want to go with an easy vote, keep numbers strong, they would vote you out. Plus, she hasn't been doing that great in challenges, so if they did just want to try to keep the tribe strong, again, she would be out. So it makes sense why she's so paranoid.
Yeah. That's true. I do think, though, that she doesn't, even though she knows that she's on the outs, it almost feels like she's still not, they're not showing that she's, trying to scramble. She's not trying to make any moves. She's not suggesting anybody to vote out. She's not, doesn't seem like she's doing anything. It almost seems like because she put herself in the GOAT position to do the puzzles and has failed every time, that now she's afraid to, do anything.
Yeah, that would definitely make sense. And, and obviously, I'm sure there's things that we don't see.
Yeah.
It's just, an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
Television.
Yeah, and they have 3 days.
It definitely does seem like she is just, hoping people come to her with an idea. Because also you don't want to throw somebody's name out there and then it gets back to them.
Yeah.
And now you're just easily the vote out.
Yeah. Where it's okay, she's gunning. It totally depends on who you're going for. But as soon as you hear somebody else's name besides yours, is when you're let's do it.
Hustle.
And then you go try and hustle, right? I just feel I do feel for that team a little bit, because some of the players who are really ready to play the game of Survivor, because they've been at Tribal Council so many times, they're trying to make some moves and doing some things, and other people seem really reluctant to do so. But in saying that, every time we get to a Tribal Council, they're blindsiding somebody.
Yeah, which I think might just be because so many of them are such big fans that they don't want to go home not having played their game or whatever.
Yeah, and building their resume.
Yeah, but I feel also it's super early, and I guess we'll talk about the vote later. But I didn't think it was the correct vote.
Yeah,
I feel it was just we gotta take our shot now, which it's you guys have a pretty tight 5-person group.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see this season where the easy votes are getting skipped over in the beginning, when it's usually the merge is where they're okay, we're going to get out some of the bigger players, and then we'll get rid of the people who we know aren't going to win. They're not going to win, so it's cool to leave them around.
Yeah. You're usually not at a GOAT status until the merge, because that's when it's that's when both sides can go at each other.
Right.
But even now it looks like some people are already being set up.
Pull this that way just a little bit more up and towards you. Yeah, right there. That'll be
there?
that'll be perfect.
Okay, cool.
I think that it's so weird to see, and this is the one thing about Survivor in specific seasons, is when one team loses more often, then you only know that team.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel
last season.
Yeah, but I don't feel like we know anything about Volkai, really at all, except for when
someone out. I think once.
One time, I think they voted out. No, wait, maybe they haven't. I thought they voted out one person.
I thought they did too. And was it? It must have been the second episode.
Yeah.
Because this was the third time that the Orange Tribe had someone voted out.
Yeah. Season 39. I don't want to get spoilers, though. Vote out.
I think we just go to Wikipedia. There won't be spoilers on there.
Yeah, you're probably right. But yes, I think that they have. They voted out. Lyro's voted out 3. And.
Vokai?
Yeah, Volkai. Something like that. I think it was in episode 2.
Molly.
Yes, that's who it was. Yeah, Molly. Who was a bummer to see go home, too. Because I thought she was going to be able to do some stuff later in the game. Which is weird that it's kind of, even though both sides one team hasn't really gone, they did decide to go for the blind side over like a normal pick or an easy pick. But maybe that's just how good this season is with the players that the cast that they've chosen, is that there are less like, oh, that guy's an idiot because he called someone a bitch 5 seconds into the show. That happens sometimes too, and you're like, oh, are you dumb? Like, what are you doing? Just like how Dean was like, oh, we'll just split the fucking votes in front of everybody. So it's an interesting season. But then this time, which is different for the Island of the Idols, was they got the choice. Volkai got the choice to choose unanimously one person to go or pull a name.
Yeah, which this montage was so funny.
Yeah,
it was the beginning of what I thought was the best storyline of the entire season.
Yeah, so far. Yeah. They oh man. So everyone's kind of like, I think each person who got to have the confessional during that bit was like, we all want to go, but we're afraid to go because, because
it puts target on your back. And then there was people like Tommy who was like, I'm trying to downplay my target, level.
Yes.
I would never want to go Island of the Idols.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to Nora.
Yeah,
Nora's
like, I'll fucking go.
well, I want to go.
Yeah, so she went. Nora went, and Nora was before was on the lower end with Jason in terms of potentially getting voted out because I think of just her annoyingness and her chaotic nature.
Just because of the way she is.
Yeah, just her being like a normal person, but somehow has crack in her veins.
Yeah, she was giving me Debbie vibes.
Yeah, yes, very Debbie-like for sure.
It would be like if there was an all-star season and they want Debbie back, but then Debbie has some emergency and can't make it. They're gonna call up Nora.
Dude, Debbie is a weird person. I didn't forget about her obviously, but like. Yeah, now that I'm now that I'm remembering all the things that she said that she's done.
She was a game changer.
And it was like, man,
really
like Philip level.
I really love the scene in Game Changers when she's just screaming at Culpepper and she.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, I'm sick of this and I'm pissed. And
yeah.
Everyone else is like, Debbie is losing it and it is day 7.
Yeah. It was super early. She's a crazy person. She reminds me a lot of who was it? Philip.
Oh yeah.
You're just like irrational, like
basically the perfect goat.
Yeah, how they tell the story is like you're like, that doesn't seem right. But yeah, then Nora goes, and both you and I think were very excited to see what the fuck was going to be the challenge at the Island of the Idols because the last one was sneak into camp.
I was
like, how do you go up?
Last week when we did our ending segment of what is the challenge going to be?
Yeah.
I'm going to give us like half credit because we said it was going to be like, we thought it would be like persuading someone at Tribal to go home.
Yeah.
And it was a persuasion lesson.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a persuasion one. But yeah, we thought it was going to be more of like how to change a vote or how to get somebody to trust you or that form of persuasion, not what they decided to do. And it was funny because they sat her down, and I don't know if Nora is a super fan, but it is weird for the people who have gone. They don't seem like they are that interested in Boston Rob and Sandra.
She did immediately recognize them.
She did, for sure. She did do that, but it almost seemed, I don't know, it just seems like I would have instantly been like, all right, let's talk my game and let them tell me, like, no, you need to cool it. We're doing something here. And maybe they do. Maybe she does, because she was like, she did mention in her confessional that she wanted to talk about her game.
Yeah, I think that is what happens. It's just edited because they don't want to spend more than 5 minutes on this.
Yeah, that's fair. But
and
then
we have to
sit
through Rob reading the rules every week.
Yeah, here's the rules. We're not participating in the game. It was funny. I noticed
we are not eligible for the $1 million prize.
Yeah, I did notice that they had some pillows. I didn't notice that the last couple weeks, but they had like pillows there, and I was like, okay, yeah, they're probably not sleeping here at all, which would make sense. But you know, you got to keep with that authenticity. But they gave her a watermelon, and it looked like a damn good watermelon, though. It looked tasty. So they tell her that it's persuasion and that she has to, she gets told ahead of time what the immunity challenge is going to be, what they're going to get. And again, this season or this episode, they didn't have a reward. It was just. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, it was just immunity. So it's interesting to see them kind of sway away, like go away. Because before it was like always rewards in the beginning. It was fucking milk and cookies and peanut butter sandwiches and shit. And who knows why that's planned that way? It could maybe be because they're doing so well on getting food, and coconuts and where they put them was more plentiful than other places that they're like, they don't really need food rewards.
I also think it's just because we have the Island of the Idols thing every week.
Yeah, so they can't.
So that just takes up the clip. Time. And like I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the Island of the Idols. We laugh the entire time.
Yes, it's great
every week.
Yeah,
it's so funny. But I would be a lot more annoyed if we had to sit through a reward challenge, Island of the Idols, and then the immunity.
Yeah, because there'd be no gameplay.
Like, honestly, like I watch the challenges, but I'm also like checking Twitter during them. I really don't care what's happening too much.
Yeah,
I'm a lot more into like when people are just talking.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. So yeah, because like sometimes they're very lopsided. This challenge wasn't so bad though, but we jump in and she instantly is like, I'm fucking gonna do this. Right. And so we learned that the challenge, and we learned this from the previews from last week, but we learned that it's one shot caller and your team's blindfolded. You have to lead them through the maze obstacle course to pull down ropes to get keys, unlock a chest, and then, and I didn't get this obviously from the last one, but they had to navigate, the shot caller has to navigate a blindfolded person through a puzzle too. That seems very challenging.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever had the blind person do the puzzle before.
Yeah.
It was a pretty simple puzzle. So
yeah, it was a circular puzzle with like 10 pieces. Yeah. Dude, before we even continue, because we talked about this last week. This is how we ended it, was you were going to show me the puzzle from Big Brother to get one of the contestants back into the game. Herman. Yeah, Caitlin Herman. Dude. So, dude, this is mind-boggling to me, especially from watching... Survivor pretty much my whole life, like since it's been on, and seeing the puzzles that the Survivor team comes up with, which are super elaborate, crazy puzzles. This is a 6-piece puzzle of herself. So it's like one leg is a piece, the other leg is a piece. There's like a torso, 2 body pieces, and a huge fucking head. And so she has to dismantle it, push it under like a doggy hole, basically. Yeah. Go to the other side, and then re-put the puzzle together on the same stand. So it's basically moving the puzzle from one side to the other, but there's a big giant plexiglass wall that she's got to push it through. She has, 2.5 minutes?
It was 2 minutes, 2.5.
Yeah, something like that. Like,
it was something that was like they tested it with everyone in the crew and then added a minute. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly that. Where they're like, okay, what is the smallest amount of time, or we just need to make sure that whoever gets this completes it. Yeah. And she fucking doesn't. And it's like, as soon as the buzzer went off for her to go and she grabbed her head and it was one solid piece, I was like, dude, she's got this shit so easy, because it's like half. Like the head was like half the size of the puzzle. Yeah. And she cannot get the legs to stand up. She can't get it to connect. And she's freaking out. And then she gives up like with 45 seconds left. And then she's like, oh, I can still try. And then she like almost gets it. And then she lays the pieces on the ground, gets it together, but she can't pick it up because her arms aren't long enough to hold it together. And then she goes home, and you said from that point on, like, she was a good sport once she left, but she was pissed. Like, she didn't give anyone a hug. She just grabbed her shit and left. I would be so embarrassed if I couldn't put together a 6-piece puzzle.
I was dying watching you watch this, because when they're showing the puzzle, I'm like, oh, how many pieces do you think it is? And you're like, oh, it has to be like a solid 12 or something.
Yeah, at least.
And
because
then she grabs the head, and the look on your face was a look of surprise I have not seen in a very long time.
I thought for sure the head was going to be like 3 pieces, but it's a solid like it's literally, I don't even know, like it's the size of like a laptop if the laptop was completely opened. Like it's huge, and like I don't, it's just insane. So I wanted to make sure that since we talked about it at the very end of the last recap, that I talked about it this time, because if you guys have not watched this clip, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. We found it on CBS All Access, and then we found the episode and we went through it. But I'm sure it's on YouTube.
It's for sure on YouTube.
Yeah. So it's mind-boggling. So anyway, at the Island of the Idols, Nora is tasked with getting or being the shot caller. She has to persuade her team into allowing her to be the shot caller. If she wins, she gets I don't think she gets an immunity idol this time.
No, she gets to block somebody's vote.
Block somebody's vote.
Which is ridiculous, because the last 4 people got immunity idols.
Yes, on her. Yeah, like everyone has. So I think so. Who has an immunity idol on her squad though? I know because
the guy that got one today. I don't know his
yeah,
name.
what was his name? It's a generic name. It's like Randy or something, but I know that's not right.
It was the Purple Tribe, right?
Yeah. It was the guy who I thought couldn't swim very well. Jamal. Which I know that I can't remember the specific point, but I'm pretty sure he said that, and he elected to not, go fishing and go on the raft and do all that stuff. So I'm going to assume, again, he's not very comfortable in the water, which they haven't done too many. Like, they've done a couple, but they've always given the option in this season so far to not swim, like to go stand on somewhere else. So they go out, and while Nora's gone at the Island of the Idols, Jason goes off on a fucking walk by himself, which I guess I understand, knowing the intricacies of Survivor and just the time that you're chilling doing nothing, why you'd want to like maybe go on a walk, explore the island by yourself. But I'm always staying with the majority.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't know, I just feel like you have to. But anyway, Jamal goes and walks around and starts looking for an idol, and he finds one. I think, who knows how long he was looking, but he looked not long enough for them to come back from the raft and be like, where the fuck is Jamal? And not long enough for Jason to come back from his walk to be like, where the fuck is Jamal? So he got it.
Which this does remind me, just quickly, I think it was also in Game Changers when JT's like, oh, I'm going to go grab the thing from the beach, and then just has all of his tribe mates stranded in the middle of the ocean while he's looking for an idol.
Yeah.
And they go, he's been gone a long time. And he goes, oh, and then they realize that JT's just stranded them.
Yeah, I do remember that. I really like JT. I think he's a funny guy. Yeah. But I think his game that he won, he played like a near perfect season that season too.
Mm-hmm. He has messed up a lot.
Yeah, since then. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Didn't they give the idol to Russell? That was one thing. Yeah,
that was his idea. Because he thought Parvati was mastermind everything and taking out all the guys. And Russell's like, on this season, they're giving me.
Yeah. It's crazy. So he finds one. So we know for sure he has one. I can't remember if anybody else on the purple team has one, but Kelly does, because she answered the 30 questions right.
No, but has it expired?
No, because it only counts for tribal councils that they go to.
Are we sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I think, okay. If that's the case, then she still has one.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's also possible it's just 2.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the tribal councils that you go to. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check it here in just a second. Okay. But
I don't think they've clarified that on the show. Because I've always taken it as in just the next 2 times people are voted out. And if you just don't happen to go, then, well, you're safe anyways.
Yeah, see, that just seems whack.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
Yeah, because she never went to tribal, and it just was useless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, while I'm looking this up, he finds one, and now we at least know that her idol, because it was worth for 3, that she'll, even if it was just 3 flat, she has it for at least 1 more.
That's
so
true.
2 people have it, and then
the next segment was Nora coming back.
Which was
the best.
it was
we were dying.
There's only one scene after this that's better. And what happens is she comes up with this idea on how to convince her tribe that she should be the shot caller. And again, I don't really have anything really bad to say about Nora. She seems very nice, but she just seems chaotic, really hard to communicate with.
And Rob and Sandra were just
roasting her
on her way out in the confessionals. They have been so nice to everyone. And then Nora, they're like, I love when Rob is like, she's perceptive, but are her perceptions reality?
Yeah.
Which is the opposite of being perceptive.
Yes. Yeah. The complete fucking opposite. God. But her idea is to say, hey, at the Island of the Idols, they told me what the immunity challenge is going to be. But in order for me to tell you guys so that we can practice, you guys have to agree unanimously that I get to pick whatever role I want. And then I can disclose the information. And at first I was like, this is not a bad idea, because she's withholding the information. If they want it, which of course they're going to take it, they're not going to deny their whole tribe of potentially practicing this challenge. But then as she continues to talk and try and sell this to them, they're like, what the fuck? They're like, they kind of like, no. And then finally they're like, okay, fine. You can tell us and you can pick whatever role. And she's like, okay, here's what it is. She describes it and she's like, and I'm the shot caller. And then everybody on the tribe is like, why would you be the shot caller? And she's like, well, it's done. I already told you guys what it was.
What I love about this is there's such a simple solution to this, which is you just change her plan a little bit, which is I can tell you what it is.
Yeah.
But they said if I tell you, then I have to be the call. Then
yes.
I have to lead it.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Just change it slightly.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess we're gonna practice.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
That is not what she did. She made such a convoluted lie, who I think is low-key the MVP of this scene. It's not Nora, is Kelly's confessional. Because Kelly was worried that her game was going to be blown up when someone comes back.
Yeah.
And Kelly goes, this lie is awful. But she is so deep in this lie that she's not even going to mention what the Island of the Idols actually is.
Yeah, she's like, that's just so mind-boggling to me, is that they still haven't said to the tribe that Sandra and Boston Rob are there. They're all keeping it secret. And
it is the most useless secret.
Yes, because you go, okay, I went and Sandra and Boston Rob greet you. They give you a challenge or a lesson. Then they challenge you, and if you pass, you get something. If you fail, you get something taken away. That's what it is.
Even just lie about and be like, then you have a challenge, and if you lose your vote.
Yeah, exactly.
And so someone's like, so I don't have a vote tonight because guess what? I couldn't be Boston Robin fire making.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is so.
It's such a weird lie,
insane.
and no one. Yeah, that nobody ever has disclosed. It's so strange to me.
But I guess going back to the episode, so Nora's selling this lie.
Really trying.
And eventually they go, okay. So they go, okay, you can pick whatever role you want. She discloses it. And then they're like, okay, let's practice. This practice montage was incredible. Because she is clearly awful at giving these directions. She must not be that big of a fan of the show if she didn't understand that she would be behind them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like even if you've seen 2 seasons, like this is every season of the show.
Yes. Yeah.
And then like Dan obviously is just like really annoyed the entire time. And then I love this part where she tells Dan to go straight and she starts counting his steps and someone else goes, no, don't count his steps. Go on to the other person. And it's like really hard for Nora to grasp this.
Yes.
And then eventually she just tells Dan, okay, go ahead 30 steps, and he walks into a tree. And instead of apologizing, he goes, he wasn't walking straight.
Yeah.
She starts defending herself.
Yeah. And she, Oh, God. Yeah, so then the whole time you're listening to her, and you're like, oh, dude, this challenge is going to be amazing. And then it does the whole zoom in and out of all the obstacles of this whole course, which is huge. Yeah. And at first I was like, I just really want her to like crush it somehow, where she's just doing it and she's crushing it. And then it goes through the thing, all the obstacles. I'm like, oh, they're fucked. Like, she's going to do so bad. And it's going to be the best thing ever. So then, you know...
and little did we know what
yeah,
we were in for.
What we were in for, which was just the best thing ever. Obviously, Orange Tribe comes in. They see that Vince was voted out. And they're like, you know, they all have the same kind of like, oh, shit, that everyone has. Because it was an interesting vote. And then Jeff asks the most important question of the night, which is, Volkai, you got an extra member. Who you sitting out? And the whole fucking team is like, Nora's sitting out. And so she has to sit out. So she fails her challenge of having to be the shot caller because the whole team, even though they snaked all the info from her, so the whole lie that she gave before didn't work. And I think it was because, I said this before we started, was I think they were waiting for Jeff to be like, you have to sit somebody out, but it can't be Nora. Mm-hmm. And when Jeff didn't say that, they're like, yeah, it's Nora. Nora's going to have to be the one who sits.
Plus, I'm also pretty sure that no one bought her lie anyways.
Yeah, no one did.
And they probably all knew that they had one. Like, everyone knows they had to sit somebody else. Yeah. They probably all went in going, Nora sit.
Yeah, Nora's got to sit, because if Nora doesn't sit, she's going to insist, which I would love to have seen the challenge of her doing it. Great. It would have been so good.
They would have gone tribal for sure.
Oh, yeah. Within seconds, you would have known that, like, oh, they're so fucked. Because I think it's Elizabeth. Is that her name? Who did it on the Libro team? Yes. Yeah. She didn't do a great job. I don't know if it's because her voice just didn't carry over people, but even the purple team Volkai, all the other tribe members were making noise too. Like when they were coming back after getting all 3 keys, they were making like a bird sound, and it was like covering over Elizabeth's voice. So, and they were like, shut the fuck up. They're getting super mad. Yeah. And
plus it also didn't help that she had Dean.
Yeah.
Who messed up multiple times.
Yeah.
Tonight.
Dean is, instead of crawling under stuff, he's crawling over stuff, has to go back over, then to crawl under. It's so funny watching blindfolded people like look for shit, because they just have no sense of anything that's around them. Because even if you've ever been blindfolded like in your house, and you walk your house all the time, you get blindfolded and you're like, oh shit. And then when you start to turn and you lose which way the ocean is or which way that tree was that you were like trying to be like, okay, as long as I'm facing this way, I know the tree's right there. You get turned around really fast.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so bad.
But then like, to do this challenge where you have no idea or anything.
Nowhere. Yeah, you've never been here before. You've never set foot on this beach before.
You like got to look at it far away.
Yes, because it's big. It's really long. It's like a football field length. Yeah. Like it's huge. And then, and not to mention, like I said, like Jeff's talking the whole time. You have Jason who's yelling, who's the other shot caller for Volkai. Then you have Elizabeth yelling. Then you have people on the team yelling. You get the waves crashing, birds, wind, all that shit. So it'd be very hard. I would never want to be the shot caller.
It is honestly amazing how great the audio is on this show.
It really is.
Considering all the miscellaneous noises on a beach.
Yes. Like to cut waves, it out, basically.
Especially the wind.
Yeah.
Like I was a film major. I had to do not huge film production, but I did
some shit.
We used professional equipment.
Yeah.
Our shit sounded awful.
Yeah.
I mean that's how you know it's a student film.
Mm-hmm. Is when the sound's bad.
The audio is shit.
Yeah, sound engineering is really tough, and I think it's one of the things that most people, when they do podcasts, they overanalyze, because when you're doing something like this where you're not adding in music, or you're not adding in a bunch of different stuff, or trying to really cut, like here we cut out the white noise that's in the room, the static, and then it pretty much sounds fine. You have we have decent XLR mics, like it's going to sound fine for what's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, to have the audio be so crisp and clear with very little, none, interference at all. They have really good audio engineers.
Yeah, I watched one episode of Survivor with my ex-girlfriend, who was
Mm-hmm.
also like a big film, like she was also a film major. And the thing that she enjoyed the most was that she was blown away by how it sounded.
Oh yeah.
Filming a reality show on a beach, and I
Yeah.
went, and she like was asking me all these questions, and she was like, "Oh, do they wear mics?" And I'm like,
I don't think they
"No,"
do. Yeah.
because they do in Big Brother,
Yeah.
but they don't. I mean, like I think they just have a cameraman and a boom guy.
Yeah.
What an awful job. For
Oh,
a
it'd
boom
be
guy
so hot.
constantly, especially when they're running and he has to run with the boom.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope that guy's paid well.
I'm sure he is. And it seems like people that, like the cast, I imagine the crew really stays the same because it's always the same doctor. It's always like, and just noticing like the people who are around him is usually typically the same people. It could be executive producers.
Yeah,
though,
and you also only have to work like 80 days.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like you don't have to do much in that side of things. And who knows what happens on the other stuff. And you're traveling. You know what I would love to see?
And you get to live in Fiji on your days off.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool.
Yeah, I really, really want to see Jeff play Survivor.
Oh, he'd be voted out so quick.
Yeah, just like because he has so much knowledge. But it would be interesting to put him in a game with people who...
If he did like Celebrity Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. Like Celebrity Survivor, where the money goes to the charity of the person who wins or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or even they can have it. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I know it's in Celebrity Big Brother. It was like those people were getting the money.
Yeah, which I wouldn't care. But I think it'd probably be an easier pitch than like giving Leonardo DiCaprio another $1 million or whatever it is. You know,
Leo is not doing Survivor.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Yeah, he might though. He loves nature.
They'd be getting like Logan Paul.
Yeah, they would be getting like a Logan, like YouTube people.
Sean Spicer.
Yeah. Oh, it would be terrible. Maybe awesome too. At the same time, it'd just be like the weirdest, like group of people.
Oh,
And you're like,
yeah. If they did Celebrity Survivor, I'd watch.
How about
What we should do is we should after like the season, we should use that website I told you about where you can simulate Survivor seasons.
Yeah.
We each make a tribe of 5 women, 5 men celebrity season.
Yes.
We input it in, and it's just us saying what happens and reacting to how these people play.
Yes, we should set that up for next week, or week after because you won't be here next week. So we could talk about that afterwards. But yeah, how insane would that be? What if they did like senators, Republican senators versus Democrats? It would be it would be so hard to watch. They'd just be make them work together.
I'm honestly surprised that they haven't done
something like that.
Like Survivor Republicans versus Democrats season.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why they don't.
Yeah, I get it too.
Oh my god.
It would be just death.
Yeah.
But make them work together. Same amount on. But
imagine if they did like Survivor North versus South.
Yeah. Oh, it would be so bad. Yeah. Anyway, I still think twins. That's my favorite. That's my favorite one. That's my favorite one. But Jason shot calls for Volkai and Elizabeth shot calls, and Volkai does really well. They're going through it. They get to the puzzle pretty quickly.
I think it's because they also
they knew
still
they
able
practiced.
To plan.
Yeah, there's still a bit of plan, and there's
they
no
had that plan
way
where all 6 of them went together.
Yeah.
While the other tribe had 3 pairs, so it's gonna be obviously they're already at a disadvantage.
Yeah, they figured it out, and there's no way. I mean, they obviously knew too. They're like, "Oh, Nora's gonna sit out. Who's gonna be the other shot caller?" And Jason's like, "Hey, I'll shot call, dude." And they're like, "Okay, let's practice. Let's just practice with him, just so that they can practice blindfolded." Nora, and she's like, "Okay, that makes sense." And so they do a really good job. To explain it, they all start on the mat in front of the person who's shot calling, and the way that Volkai did it was they all joined hands at the beginning and got past the first obstacle together. Instead of going, here's a 2-person group, here's another 2-person group, here's another 2-person group, talk them through it one at a time. They all did it at the same time. And that worked out really well for them. What did take them a long time was once they got all the keys and they got back to the mat, Jason had to walk all of them through basically in a straight line to the other end of the field to undo the chest, get the puzzle pieces, and start that. Elizabeth, once they got back to the mats, she like hustled them the fuck through. That they like jogged or ran like to the other side while they were blindfolded.
Which when Jason was leading them, I was surprised why they weren't at least like walking faster.
Yeah,
because you're just you have one.
Yeah,
hand,
you just hold and
you have
walk.
Another hand.
Yeah,
you're just you're holding on to people both ways, and you're just like just jog.
Yeah, just like walk straight.
Like people are gonna jog at a similar enough speed that no one's gonna trip or anything.
Yeah, and if they do, they're fucking connected to you, so drag their ass. But they Elizabeth gets through it pretty quick. So even though the Volkai had a pretty decent, sizable lead in terms of the puzzle, which is a circular puzzle, probably about 12 to 15 pieces, it seemed like. They got back. Lyro got back in it, and at one point, you think that they actually win, because they got it completed. This is one of the same puzzles that Survivor does, where just because the puzzle fits doesn't mean that it's the correct spot, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. Especially with this, where a blind person.
Where a blind person's doing it, and then also a comeback where you're like, oh shit. Like, they just came back from way back, and then you find they don't get it. They have to change, like, 2 pieces, but they can't do it fast enough. Jason finishes it with Kelly, and Volkai wins yet again.
I mean, they probably lost by, like, 15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe 30 tops.
Yeah, tops.
So that beginning where they weren't linked really screwed them, or Dean
Yeah.
Going over.
Yeah, and having to come back.
Being lost, trying to find the rope.
Yeah, man. Dean is one of those guys who, it's weird though, because when he's at Tribal, he's very articulate.
Yeah.
It seems like he can say what he means without saying it in a way that seems harsh or making it seem like, just like the we'll split the votes thing. Like, he doesn't seem like he really would say that in Tribal, like really slip up. But then on the challenge side of things, he hasn't been a huge like factor in terms of winning or losing. And usually in Survivor, when you look like Dean, who is a pretty built dude, very athletic looking, you expect him to be able to pull his weight or pull somebody else's weight too in a challenge. And no one really on that team has done that. And they have the Olympian, they have a professional hockey player. What's the other guy's name? The other African American on their team. I think his name's Aaron.
Aaron. Aaron.
He's a big guy, but he hasn't really done much either.
I mean, he was able to do the puzzle. I mean, he was blindfolded, but he was able to get
That's true.
Pieces in super quick.
Yeah, he did do that, and he did get very, very close. But then it definitely
was not his fault.
Yeah, it wasn't. No, yeah.
I was telling him what to do.
Yeah, definitely not his fault for sure. He did a really good job. And to be honest, even though Elizabeth in the first half of the section of calling them out where to go, she did a very good job of getting them caught back up into the puzzle. And I think what happens too is when you start getting back into it, you get hyped, so you're kind of going faster. And Jason had a very methodical, slow approach to it. Like, kind of like, we have such a lead that if I start to scramble, then we'll probably lose. But if I stay calm the whole time, we'll win. And that's what happened. The bummer part about Lyro losing is that we've yet to really learn a lot about Volkai, which is, I mean, the way that it has been going is you are going to assume that those are going to be the majority of the people in the merge, just because of numbers and them going. So you get back, Lyro kind of like, they're scrambling a little bit. They can vote out Karishma, but they're kind of Missy and Aaron are trying to figure out who to get out. And earlier in the episode, they had Dean and Chelsea, who were a little bit of like flirting and that kind of stuff.
They were spooning.
Yeah, which seems like that would be a very typical thing to happen on Survivor, no matter what, really, to some extent.
Yeah, but it also is definitely a way to put a target on your back.
For sure.
Like, I feel like there's very few Survivor couples that.
Yeah,
last. You're like, oh, yeah, they're gonna go far.
Yeah.
I feel like for every couple that's like that makes the final 5 or whatever, there's a couple that both go out in the merge.
Yeah, for sure. Before, yeah, I definitely agree with you.
It's definitely like because in Survivor, because like in Big Brother, showmances happen every season.
Yeah,
they usually go pretty far, but I think that's because in Big Brother you have to nominate 2 people.
Yeah.
In Survivor, it's just whoever gets the most votes.
Yeah.
So I think in Survivor, it's a lot easier to put a target on both of them.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Which one of the two do we want to take out? Raul and Big Brother, you need someone to like make both of them an enemy.
Yes.
By putting them on the block.
Yeah.
And also Big Brother just takes a lot longer.
Yeah.
It's weeks instead of days.
Yeah. Yeah, this is only 39 days.
Yeah, Big Brother's like over double that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah, so we go back to Lyra and they're
There's
scrambling.
less people, too.
And yeah. What is Survivor 20?
20,
yeah. It used to be 18.
It's 18 for the three
tribe
beginnings.
Which is interesting. But
yeah, you think they just do 21?
Yeah, exactly.
And just have
but I
one
guess
more challenge
yeah, because maybe they don't do 21 just because then it's always like a majority. Like, I don't know. Who cares? But because you're gonna get to that point anyway. But maybe it's just to add another 3 people that they have to pay.
Maybe.
You know, or one person, but yeah. In terms of then switching over to 18. Yeah. But then we just spend a lot of time with Lyra trying to figure it out, and it's Aaron and Missy who are trying to say, hey, let's get out Dean, because Dean and Chelsea are, a couple. And they approach this to Elizabeth at first, and she acts like she is going to go along with it with them, but in her confessionals and with everybody else, she's like, I'm not for voting out Dean. And I think that's the fear of if you vote out Dean, then you do lose a guy who can do stuff in terms of challenges. And she seemed less caring about him performing well in challenges, but the fact that at least he's doing work at camp, getting food, cleaning, getting firewood, where Krishma isn't doing anything. Like, she is just sitting, sleeping, and not even trying to really play the game, which then confirms kind of what we were talking about in the beginning. Mm-hmm. Doesn't seem like she is trying too hard, even though she is complaining about no one playing, or like no one's playing this. She said that with Vince last episode. No one's playing this game. And it's like, but what are you doing?
Maybe they're not playing it with you.
Yeah,
but
the people on their team are definitely playing.
Team are playing very hard.
Yeah, they are.
Especially Missy and Aaron.
Yeah, they do seem leagues ahead, which could potentially get them in trouble later, because they're going to be like, who's calling the shots? Yeah,
because I think Elaine even mentioned, like, oh, that Aaron, he's sneaky.
Yeah, and she said that the same thing about, I think his name was Rand. I feel like I've called everybody Rand, every guy on the season Randy or something. But the poker player, what was his name? Ronnie, close.
I don't think this season has a Randy.
I don't think it does either, but it's like a generic name, and I just keep calling everyone Randy. But that guy, she instantly like sifted through his bullshit that he was trying to feed her and was like, he's sneaky, he should go. And everyone pretty much felt that same way because they voted him out. Mm-hmm. So I think Elaine will actually do pretty well. Because I think
she will too.
I think she's more intelligent than what she leads on. Because even when they were at Tribal and they go cut to Boston Rob and Sandra, she's like, this one never knows anything. I don't think Elaine doesn't know anything. I think she just says that because in the beginning of the game, she was being targeted for being too nice. So now she's trying to be like, well, I might be likable, but I'm dumb as fuck. Yeah. So
which is definitely
you can hide it from me. Oh, super sound. This is it's probably what I would do too. But well, I can run fast, but I don't know how to do anything. So I don't know what's going on. Don't vote me out. I'm just nice.
Yeah.
So
I just pick up firewood.
Dude. This is cool. I'm just here for the fun. You need my vote? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they do throw out. It seems like then they were like, okay, Krishma's fine. But then Missy's like, no, we got to get this team or this duo split up. So then she goes and talks to Elaine about getting out Chelsea instead. And we know Chelsea found a hidden immunity idol. So we're like, okay, probably we'll use it. But I think what they've done really well, both teams so far who have voted people out, is at least the way that it's been edited, is that it seems like when they do flip the vote for the blind side, they talk about it pretty much last minute, so it doesn't give somebody a whole day to hear their name or a whole day for somebody to tell them. Exactly, get paranoid and tell them. And so we go, and Tribal Council is interesting, but it's pretty much more of the same of what they're talking about. Of like,
there wasn't really anything that I was like, oh, that's interesting. I was like, oh, let's just like get to the vote.
Yeah, it was like it could be
good, though.
It could be Chelsea. It could be Krishma. The whole time I was like, oh, it's probably Krishma, just because they weren't super set on. It's a smart thing to do, and they weren't set on Dean. And even though they pitched Chelsea, it's pretty much the same thing, because Chelsea is good in the challenges. She's smart. She seems like she'd be knowledgeable enough to help people. And here's the other thing too. If you're a Survivor fan, you know that the switch is coming. So if you don't vote out Krishma and Krishma gets switched, she's fucking you, right? Like if she gets switched to being she's like, I'll work with anybody, you know, and she'll flip it because she's on the bottom. Because she's on the bottom. So that's the person you get out. So anyway, it gets to the vote and it ends up being Chelsea, and Chelsea's the second person to go home with an idol in her pocket.
Yeah, which is insane. I saw on the post episode Reddit thread, someone said between Vince and Chelsea, Ponderosa is the real island of the idols, which I thought was really funny. It's insane that people have been getting so many idols. I mean, it's not that insane because it's called Island of the Idols, but then they go home with them.
Yeah, it's like
Chelsea found hers. It wasn't even like gifted to her. Like Vince. I mean, I guess
he worked for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did a little bit. He had to do some shit.
I mean, he definitely had the hardest successful challenge of the two people.
Yes.
That have gotten idols. From
yes.
Island of the Idols.
Yeah. He worked for it in a way, but not randomly finding it in the traditional idol way. Yeah, but I was really surprised that they decided to go with Chelsea. One, because I think both you and I, even before we saw the scenes from next episode, we're like, it's either going to be next episode or the episode after that where they're going to split the teams. Mm-hmm. And especially with Lyra losing, they're like, okay, we got to switch it up a little bit because it just seems unfair. And that's basically what we get in terms of scenes from next episode is they are going to switch it up. And I think this is why the Chelsea vote is going to haunt Missy and Aaron going forward, is because they're going to be stuck with one less loyal member of Lyra. So whatever team they get on, it's going to be much harder for them.
Yeah. I mean, it could also work out for them. It's just luck of the draw.
Yeah, in terms of probability.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But if you're looking at it from a mathematical stance, which you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was a dumb move.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess just going through the process, I don't know how it works out.
Yeah.
Maybe it works out great.
Yeah, that's true. Know. Yeah,
but,
that's very true.
I think from the information that we have as the audience and looking at this, it's like, why wouldn't you get her out? Mm-hmm. She's going to flip. And they even know that. They mentioned that she's going to flip as soon as she can.
Yep.
You know it's coming.
Yep.
And they kept her in.
Maybe they were thinking, hey, we got two more votes. Or one more vote, and then we'll be switched. So we'll just get her out then. But still, it's like you could.
Yeah, and you're also taking out someone that wasn't bad at the challenges.
Yeah,
compared to
wasn't
Krishma.
bad. Also, not really pulling the strings, at least in the way that it was edited. Seemed very laid back, kind of along for the ride. Similar to how the older Tom, I think that's his name, the older guy, the hockey player.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, similar to how he's been, because even some people even though we've spent so much time with Lyra, the people that we've seen a lot are Aaron, Missy, Elaine, Elizabeth, and Krishma. Those are kind of the five. Dean, we haven't really seen him talk too much other than in Tribal, and Tom, we haven't really seen him do much either.
Saying split the vote.
Other than that, yeah, which we'll talk about probably the whole season. Yeah. And depending on how far, but that was the other thing too, was in the scenes was Missy was kind of telling Dean like something, and he didn't like it, and she was like, "Dude, I voted out your girlfriend. Like, I get you're mad, but you're still in the game, so let's do something." And he was not having it. He was kind of pissed. Which then it's gonna swap, and you could potentially be on Dean's team.
Yeah.
And now Dean wants to fuck you over because you just fucked him.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting.
If I ever go on Survivor and like one of my closest allies gets blindsided, I mean, I guess also like, I'm not in their shoes. I don't know how their emotions. I don't know how my emotions will come out. But I would do my best to be like, game move, got it.
Yes.
And just because I feel like going back to Tribal, being pissed.
Yeah.
It's such a bad game.
Yeah, because you always make bad decisions when you're mad.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing too, at least from a viewer standpoint, is whenever I've watched a season where people have taken things really personally, it's an interesting thing, but I always kind of have that, like, I feel bad and it feels really awkward kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Where when you watch a season where everyone just respects the gameplay, and so because a lot of times what will happen if it's a season where everyone takes everything personally, then it's a popularity contest of who wins. But if it's a season where everybody respects the gameplay and what people have done, then it's actually the best person who's supposed to win wins the game. Now, obviously, in terms of winning challenges, that can kind of skew things. For instance, like last season, it should have been Rick Devens. It wasn't Rick because he didn't win the immunity challenge. And he couldn't make the fire. So
yeah. There's only one time that I think it's been super personal in Survivor that I went, you know what, this is good TV, and that's just when Angelina wanted to stage the tribal council for her big moment.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Watch All Stars, dude. It gets super fucking personal.
Okay,
when you leave, I'll give you the DVDs.
Oh, well, I have it on CD.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah. I think we said the same thing last time, too. But it's cool, but there's the commentary, so if you'd like to have that.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd want to watch it with no commentary. But
Fair.
But then if I'm like, that was amazing, I'll be over.
What's his name? The guy you mentioned that you listened to his podcast, too, Rob.
Rob Cisternino.
Yeah, he's on it,
he
yeah.
Goes out
early. But he does the stuff with the commentary.
Oh, cool.
A couple times, yeah.
That's dope.
For like 4 episodes, I think, like a whole disc.
That's cool.
Yeah, him, Jenna.
Yeah. Did you know?
I can't remember.
I think it was this past year, The Amazing Race was like all CBS shows.
Oh yeah.
And Rob and Stephen Fishbach were asked.
Oh
to
really?
Do it, but Stephen was getting married.
Oh,
so
couldn't do it.
Are
they close?
They host the Survivor After show.
Oh, cool.
On his podcast.
Yeah, like the okay. Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I was gonna watch it. I just lost track of time. Never like realized it was on until it was over. I'll watch it eventually because it has like Janelle and Brittany from BB, and I'm like, that's enough for me to watch.
Yeah.
But if Rob and Steven had actually done it, then I would have actually like taken time out of my schedule and been like, I am watching The Amazing Race for the first time in a decade.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched it.
It's fun.
Yeah, different. It seems really different.
I watched it when I was young.
Seems like a lot of time spent in taxis.
Well, but like that's when they fight.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
Like,
yeah.
Really, and then like there's these things where you can like get a power called like the rewind or something, and they like have to go do the challenge again, and people just get really pissed every time that they get it, and like there's some good TV on it. Yeah, dude.
Okay, so your second pick after Missy was Chelsea.
Yeah.
So she's gone.
Yeah, I know.
Toasty. Who would be your next second pick?
Nora. No.
Yeah, she can't win. She's fucked.
I mean, like, I'd probably go Tommy. I feel like he's gotten really good at it. He's really smart. He's on the tribe that won't go to tribal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I guess swaps happen.
I think the biggest thing is...
I think Aaron's setting himself up, but he also could just easily go in the next few votes.
I could see Aaron doing well. I think what will get him is part of the ego of, like, feeling as though he has to be like the person.
Sure.
Which is what got him in trouble for the first vote, is he felt like he was in control. And now he's worked his way back, which shows that he might be very good at the game because he can get back into it very easily. And I think Tommy, though, he has a really good head on his shoulders. He seems very personable without being Elaine's too likable. He also seems like he's good in the challenges, but he's not overperforming in the challenges to make him seem like a huge athletic threat. But I suppose merge is really what shows you who's going to be the person who wins the shit. Like if somebody wins 2 times in a row, 3 times in a row, you're like, this guy's probably girl, guy, whatever, is probably going to take the cake in terms of the immunity idols. And the first time they lose individual is when they go, unless they are Rick Devens and have 85 hidden immunity idols. But yeah, that's my pick to win, Tommy, for sure. And then the other kid with the longer hair, I think, is going to do really well too. Who like looks like it could be his brother, his younger brother, or like cousin or some shit.
Yeah,
but I just never know Volkai's tribe. I don't know him because they're never on. It's like Kelly because she went to Island of the Idols, and Nora because she's insane,
Jason. I know
Jason,
his name
yeah.
because he was caught looking for an idol.
Yep.
Like,
And then Jamal, because we've talked about him.
yeah, because we looked up his name.
Yeah, because we had to look up his name.
during the episode.
Yeah, that's it. Those are all the people I know. So I'm excited to see what next episode will bring because of the swap, to see who ends up on what squad. Because there's also a huge chance that the teams stay the fucking exact same. Very small mathematical probability.
Could you
but
imagine if it's just the same tribes?
Yeah.
Do you think Jeff would go, no?
Yeah, do you think he'd like look to the executive producer and be like, bro?
Yeah, well, there was that, I think it was last year when it went to 3 tribes. Like the tribe with David Kelly and Rick and Lauren and
Yeah.
Dog, they're all in the same tribe. And
Yeah.
they were like, are you kidding me? And they're at the same camp that was run down. And
Yeah, all
awful.
shitty. Yeah. Yeah.
And then they lost.
I really liked Lauren.
Yeah.
She was a
Lauren's
good
great.
player. I would like to see her come back.
I would too.
When she passed out, that's such a baller move to me. Like, she's like, I'm going to fucking pass out. I'm just going to
it's like,
faint.
what? And then she just falls.
Yeah. Who was it that the other person who was then like, she was like a weightlifter or something, or like CrossFit girl, and then she was like trying to petition for somebody else to step down or whatever.
Oh, I do remember this.
And people were like,
Aurora?
yeah, Aurora. And people were getting mad. I was like, dude, she's playing the fucking game, right? She can't get like, I'd be like, yeah, step down. Like, I want this shit. But it's part of the reason why people didn't really like Aurora, I think.
Hey, but she won the CM money.
Yeah, she did win the CM money. Dude, C is awesome. That's good. It's so crazy just how many people, like like you said, like very closeted Survivor fans. People don't really talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then like once one person says something, you're like, oh shit, I watched that.
I was at dinner on Sunday night before a concert I went to,
Mm-hmm.
and I met up with one of my good friends, and then one of her friends was going to concert too. So all of us got dinner. I didn't really know her friend too much. We had met like twice before.
Yeah.
And we were talking about TV, and I was like, yeah, like it's so hard for me to start TV shows because I end up browsing. There's so much good TV, and I'm like, yeah, I'll just like watch an old season of Survivor.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, that happens to me too. And I was like, wait,
You watch Survivor, or like you find an old reality show that you like?
I was like, wait, like specifically Survivor, and she was like, yeah, but I mean, like I only have the old Hulu seasons. What's on Hulu? And I'm like, here. Let me hook you up with with my CBS access.
Be awesome. Watch these.
I was like, hey, have you watched Island of the Idols? She's like, no. I'm like, you're in for a treat. I don't know how actually good it is so far, but in terms of, is it entertaining?
Which one?
This season.
Yeah,
Idols.
yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And then both of us spent a half hour getting one of my good friends. We're like, you have to watch Survivor. and we both like start with Cagayan.
Oh yeah, Cagayan's a good one.
I think it's probably like the best like season to start with because it's all newbies. The season's amazing. Even from the first episode, it's crazy. And then like it doesn't spoil previous seasons, and you get an idea of what this show's about.
Right. Yeah. It is a really good. It is a good one. I would say All Stars is a good one after you watch a couple of the seasons from prior to that one, just because of bringing people back for a second season.
Yeah.
And people it's so competitive. Like, it's so competitive because it's at the height, maybe not the height, but like, it's kind of like at the height of of Survivor being like kind of Survivor celebrities. Like, people have only kind of really heard about him, similar to Russell, like how we talked about last episode where Russell Hantz played in one, and then he went directly from that season to then filming the next season. And the people in that one didn't really know who he was, but there was enough time between each of the contestants being on for them when they got there for everyone to kind of know who they were. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, it created this really big rivalry between the athletic guys and like the really smart and people and all these different things. And it created a really crazy season. Mm-hmm. It was really fun to watch.
Is that your favorite season?
I think it is my favorite one. Yeah, just because besides the end, just because it's the season that the two finalists get engaged, and it's like, well, I guess they both fucking win. So besides that, but it is a testament to just how well those two played the game to even be able to get to that point, which is nutty. Yeah. So, yeah, it was exciting. And the only reason why the person who ended up winning won was because the Rob did a bunch of shit, like sludged through all the fucking ass to get there, to get both of them there. And that's what, so it's like, well, we're going to give it to her because you're a dick. That's how it was. So it was a really, really good season. But that will probably end it for tonight, guys. Next week, Dylan is you're going to be at the season opener for the Blazers, right? Yeah. Is that what it is? Yeah. That's going to be fun, dude. I can't wait. So Dylan's going to be doing that. So I'll be joined by my sister, Kirsten, who has watched Survivor, all the seasons like I have, and same with Dylan. So she's going to be, with me next week. And then starting on Sunday of next week, not this week, of next week. So after the season opener of the Blazers stuff, my friend Doug and I are starting a Blazers podcast called The Pinwheel, and that will air every Sunday until the season's over. So that's going to be a lot of fun to do. I'm sure we'll have guests and whatnot, but Doug and I will be the two main co-hosts on that. So be looking forward to that. And then tomorrow we will have our guest episode with Grant Meyer. So be looking for that. That will drop at 4 a.m. Pacific time. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate you listening to it. And if you have any suggestions on things you want us to do, like what Dylan had mentioned, the going through and celebrity stuff, seeing who wins. Let us know if you guys want us to talk about something specific Survivor related. But other than that, guys, take care. Have a great Thursday and have a good weekend. Bye, guys.